I'm Dr. Barry, licensed psychologist, and here we talk about true crime and psychology. Thank you so much for joining. Let's hop right into today's topic. Let's go.
Thank you all for being here. I am super excited because I have a special guest. This was the second week of trial and in the Kouri Richins trial. And I want to talk about finances, her friends, and then y'all know we have to go over that letter because she wrote not quite a letter, but she wrote a personal story, a statement at a Sedona retreat, and I have some thoughts. So I am really glad to be joined by my mom. So as soon as I heard the financial expert, so y'all might not know, my mom is a retired accountant. She worked for the federal government for over 30 years, retired twice, so like retired first and then came back and retired again. In between then, she has worked for nonprofit agencies, and she agreed, like we all know that forensic accountant they had, she is bad. Like she knew her stuff forwards and backwards. And so, hey, mama, can you go on ahead and introduce yourself? And we can hop right into your thoughts on the finances.
Well, the biggest thing I'll tell you is that money matters, money matters, and mindset matters. And so I'm Johnny, and I have a couple companies, but the biggest one is I teach mindset and I do neuro piece from a practitioner perspective. And so, and I, like Patrice said, I have over 47 years of accounting background. I have, believe it or not, I have flipped houses. I have done all that. I have invested in multi-million-dollar properties in that were done on auction and all that kind of stuff. So this is my jam. I'm really excited about being here with you. So I'm looking forward to the impact. Okay, let's go.
Wow. And so how all of this starts is Kouri takes out a $250,000 home equity line of credit without her husband's knowledge on a home that she does not have, like she's not on the deed. It was a home he purchased before they got married. They were together and they moved in together, but he purchased it before they were married. But she took this out without his knowledge and she only paid the interest. Can you start there of like what that means financially?
Okay, so first of all, be careful giving people a general power of attorney. Now, I'm not saying that it was.
I don't think he did.
I don't know, but we just having a right. And then the other thing is, she went to a place that he was well known. So let's just talk about the HELOC. The home equity line of credit goes against the available principal that's available in your home. Like if you owe 200 million or 100,000 and the property is worth 300,000, you have 200,000 that you could potentially tap into for a home equity line of credit. The issue is that when you do that and you pay interest only, the bank puts a lien against the property, and actually they become, and I'm going to say this, they become primary, that if anything happens to the property, that loan has to be paid off in order to clear the title.
Yeah.
And so what she did was obligated, got $250 cash out of a property that she did not own and she didn't have rights to, and she took that money and put it in her bank account.
Is a HELOC a secondary mortgage? Is that a secondary mortgage? Is that a second mortgage? I think it's different because you're
in order to have a second mortgage, you have to have a first.
Okay.
So it does not appear that property had a mortgage against it.
I think he had.
So the home equity line of credit is just what it sounds like. It takes your home, it takes the equity, the available equity, and the financial institution gives you a percentage. This is extremely important, a percentage of what is available as your equity in the home. And it gives you cash, helps you pay off debt, whatever you want to do with it, it gives you that money for you to move forward. But then there becomes what they call a lien against the property, saying you cannot sell the property without paying off this debt.
Yes. And if somebody has a mortgage, I know sometimes if they get a second mortgage, or if they pull out equity, sometimes their regular mortgage, their monthly mortgage would go up. And he was so smart to protect his boys, because I think he didn't trust her financial decisions.
That was obvious. She gave him reason to. Okay, so the thing about that, okay, let's go back to what you just said, Patrice. What you just said was, okay, let's say you do not own your house.
Yes.
You have a primary mortgage, right?
Okay.
So the HELOC, the home equity line of credit, is a separate loan, like a second mortgage, is a separate loan, and you have to pay both.
Yeah.
You have to pay your primary mortgage, and you want to pay the HELOC. The reason for that is if you went in and you did another primary mortgage and added that additional money to it, then let's say your interest rate was real low over here, and it would be high. It would be different than what you originally purchased the house for. And the cost for doing a first mortgage is much more extensive than the cost of doing a home equity line of credit.
Lisa's question brings us right into something that I wanted to share. So let me pull that up, because Kouri, so I do not like fees. I will, no lie, I'm gonna go back to that screen. I will no lie. So I once had a credit card charge me a fee, and I canceled the card, because I was just, it used to have they were penalizing me for not holding a balance on it. And I was like, oh no. Now I do have a travel card. So I will pay, like if I I have a travel card where I get free bags. And because I fly this particular airline regularly, the free bags for me and my party outweighs the $100 yearly fee. So it's fine. But I do not like fees. And Kouri's over here racking up over $5,000 of overdraft fees. And so if you could talk a little bit about how she's over here doing Kouri math was not mathing. The math.
No. Kouri math was borrowing people's money. So let's talk about what an overdraft fee is. An overdraft fee is the bank honors whatever you just did. So you basically borrow money on the bank's dime, and that fee pays for the transaction that happens. So Kouri had money coming in, so the bank was pretty sure, based on the history over the years, and we see the history, the $5,000, you see all the money that's coming in. The bank was racking up, because the overdraft fee is an open way for a bank to get additional funds, and it's automatic. And that's why, let's say a person did 3 overdrafts today. They did 3 transactions, but they had no money in the bank. Well, the bank charges the overdraft fee for every transaction that is made while you're in the negative.
Yeah.
That's how she got stacked up so much, is because for every single transaction that she made and did not have money in that bank, they charged her a fee for them processing it and honoring that, whether it's buying coffee, same fee. They don't care what it is. Whatever you charge or swipe your card or whatever, the bank charges you an overdraft fee.
And I believe that, so this was for her America First credit union. And it looks like there were her husband, Eric Richins, had big accounts there. And even though he wasn't on her business account and she wasn't on his business account, but I think the bank understood the relationship, and that is why the bank continued to allow her to do these. But and because she would have to pay the fee.
Yeah.
And they're collecting the fee. And does overdraft affect your credit or no? Not technically? Yeah,
Unofficially,
not really.
not really. But let's go back to what you just said.
Yeah.
You said that the deal with the overdraft fee is, let's say she had $300 overdraft fee. The first deposit that goes in there, they subtract the $300 off.
They're getting their money. They're getting their money first.
They get their money first. So that is what the bank was. And I like what you said, Patrice, because you said because of the relationship. Her husband had a major account there, and she had an account there, and the bank wasn't coming away empty-handed. The bank didn't keep on giving her additional loans. The bank charged her overdraft fees. So that is the key. And the deal with that is when you're late on a credit card, they turn you in as far as not paying your debt. But when you do overdraft fees, unless you continue to have a negative balance and don't pay them, then the bank doesn't turn that in. It's not reportable, typically not reportable.
Okay. Ooh, so wow. With the properties, because she was trying to flip properties, but it seems like she was overly focused on one aspect and not another, where I think she wanted to have a bunch of properties and did not want to, but like she was going further and further in debt. Yeah. Can you speak on that?
Yeah. Okay. So, the reason I'm laughing is because, when I first started flipping properties, 20 plus years ago, most people, when they flip, they buy and then they repair and then they flip and take the profit in that property. Hear me, take the profit in that property and they go to a larger property. They take that profit and they invest it in the next property. She was flipping like an octopus. She was flipping all these things at the same time, and none of them were working. I like what the forensic accountant said. She said she had a lot of property, but all of them were underwater. That means that none of the properties, when you looked at the value of what she owed versus the value of the property, she was negative. So when either it was the way she was flipping, it was the investment she was putting in them.
And also I think she was using, because if you look at her statement, she's over here using her money on whatever she wants.
Personal.
It was a lot of what she was doing was very personal, and she wasn't paying her debts.
Okay, so let's talk about that for just a second, because this is a business. Part of this is a business class. I teach business, right?
Yes.
So businesses are supposed to, I'm going to use that word, supposed to separate their personal expenses from their business expenses. And she had them like this. She was doing everything she wanted to do out of that personal account. Everything. And she wasn't.
Do you mean the business account, though?
The business account. Thank you.
Yeah.
The business account. She was doing everything she wanted to do out of the business account. But I think it was because she didn't have money in her personal account.
Yes.
So she was using the money that came in as if it was all hers. And so I would say she doesn't understand. Not only does she not understand how to flip property or how to determine if a property has value to flip, because every property doesn't have necessarily, by the time you pay the hard money lenders, and then you pay for the closing costs and all of these things, you don't always have a profit at the end. So you have to do your homework. Like, how long do I need to hold this money? Because every week, typically, or every other week, the hard money lender asks you to pay interest. They ask you to make a payment, and that payment is interest only, typically.
And let's explain hard money lender versus going to a regular bank. So I've purchased 2 homes in my life, and every single time at closing, something's come up. And I actually had one lender deny me for a loan because my mortgage was going to exceed my rent. But I think that makes sense. like the lender I had the finances. Like, it wasn't any, like, the lender just said, you haven't paid like the mortgage you're going to have. We're not going to push you up to what you need. And thankfully, a different lender, we were able to do what we needed to do. But regular lender versus hard money lender.
Okay, so a regular lender is you have to qualify. Mm-hmm. Let's just make it plain. You have to qualify. They're going to ask you questions. You have to bring everything to the table, and then they send it through a process that they have to cause you to qualify. Now, what Patrice just mentioned was really powerful, because what they said is the gap between what you're paying now and what you will be paying with this, plus the additional responsibility of owning your own home, we're not comfortable with that.
Yeah.
That lender did that, right? So with a hard money lender, okay, so let's talk about it. A hard money lender puts a lien against the property.
Immediately.
Immediately. The hard money lender owns the property, has a lien on the property, right? And the hard money lender is charging you an interest rate that is commensurate with the
risk.
With the risk that they're taking, right? So you're not going in and getting the regular interest rate. You're getting 10, 15. It's hard. It's hard. That's why they call it a hard money lender, because you have less to require, less requirements. They take a higher risk. So they're looking to get their money back, and the interest immediately is how they make their profit. And then they're going to get their money back on the close. And if for whatever, they give you a closing date. And if you don't close by that date and they don't extend it, they actually take the property.
Wow.
And that's what happened. They foreclosed on one of the properties. They said, and then they resold it to somebody else, because they're saying, now we own it.
Yeah.
So all of the work that Kouri did, and I don't know what all she did to either property, but the work that she did to the property, that means the money that she borrowed from them, they paid interest, right? So they own the property, and all the work that the contractor or whoever did, and she paid them, they get that too. So they're in a position, first position, to take the property. And that's why it's called a hard money lender.
And even as an investor, because sometimes investors can't get a traditional 30-year mortgage. Like, sometimes investors are offered 15, 10-year. Sometimes they're offered something different. Or if somebody knows that they're going to flip it and make this huge profit, but I don't think she was thinking long term. I think she just wanted to say that she owned all these houses, because she had, I don't know if it was a website or if she sent a letter to somebody saying that she owned over $11 million in property, and that was false. Like, that was a lie. Like, that just wasn't true. And so the state, in their opening, they say she cares about appearances and specifically looking rich. And this is what she cares about. There was a really great question that says, what goes through a person's mind to be so selfish? Like, she's taking food out of her children's mouth, and her best friend. And we're going to get to that in a second. even if she hated Eric, this adds a lack of concern for them. But I think in her twisted mind, I think she was saying, I'm doing this for my children, because I don't think she ever admitted how deep she realized how deep she really was.
I think she was okay, so let me go back to one thing you said.
Yes.
So one thing you said is, okay, so I'm an investor, right? I invest in properties. So the bank doesn't give me a 30-year mortgage.
Yeah.
They will not.
Mhm.
They give me a shorter term, either all of my properties reset, and I'm gonna use that word, reset 5 years. Because I don't have to go back and qualify. But if I want to keep the mortgage open, then it resets whatever the current interest rate is, right? It resets for the bank's advantage. Most of them are 15-year mortgages, like Patrice said. So now let's go back to Kouri, because I think that's really powerful.
Yeah.
There's a difference in what your net worth is in your head and what your net worth is on paper. Your real net worth. And Patrice can talk in a minute. Y'all know she will. I think she was delusional when it came to the fact of, like you said, she wanted to look like, because listen to me, people are on social media platforms, and she could have been one of those people that says, I own $11 million worth of property.
Trying to sell a course or something.
Yeah. Let me teach you how to make money flipping houses, right?
She's gonna teach you how to end up in orange.
Scary. It's scary. Okay.
She was being fraud.
People
she is alleged to, it's my understanding there's a financial crimes case that is separate from this one.
She literally says something with the friends, if I'm not mistaken, because I listened to that one. Yeah. And she was on this document they were reading, and she was talking about how she literally believed she was ahead. Yeah. And that's the part, because it doesn't sound like she was aware of the damage. And she took the Barclay, I think, property, and she didn't just do that and have her bestie in it. She literally took that same property and took it and made it collateral for another loan. So let's talk about that. Let's say that property was paid off. Let's say she did the right thing for her bestie, but she had it attached to another loan. Then that's what happens then is the collateral that you put down for the next loan, if you use a house that's already paid for or whatever, if you don't and then you foreclose on the other property, then what happens is they can have that property. That's why I tell people, don't use paid property to get another property. Don't do that. Because if something happens, then the other property becomes in jeopardy too. But she was living above her means based on what I saw. But what I loved about the forensic, and I told Patrice, I said, this is a happy thought. Watching the forensic accountant look at those numbers, and what I did because of who I am is, because I'm a thinker, is I wouldn't listen to what she said. I would pause it and see what I could find first and go through and say, that's personal, and that's this, and that's that. All of those things were sitting there, and then I would turn it on and see what she said.
I'm going to share this one.
Yeah. So I thought that was powerful.
So Kouri needed somebody to sit down with her and take a look at reality. Because this is, the blue is the debts owed and the orange are the debts paid.
Yeah. And when you look at net worth, honestly, I think the forensic person said that her properties at that time, she had, I want to say $8.4 million in property. And what she owed, no, I think I'm taking it backwards. I'm right. She owned $6.4 million in property at that time that she was talking about. And she owed $8 million worth of on the property, which means that she was upside down, or she was in debt by $1.6 million. So she was kept on doing it. She just kept on doing it. So
this is a good question about why people take out a HELOC, why people take out a home equity line of credit. And so some people, they need a new roof. They have some flooding in their house that's not covered by their insurance, or they want to remodel. Let's say they want to remodel their bathroom, their kitchen. And so they might take out $100,000. And let's say the interest rate on that second mortgage, because a lot of people, their primary mortgage isn't always paid off. But if the primary is, because I do think that HELOC she got, I thought the interest rate was pretty good.
It was
yeah,
really good.
it was a really good interest rate. And so sometimes the second interest rate can sometimes be lower, not always, but sometimes it might be different than the one on your primary mortgage.
Mhm.
Those payments will be together. The bank puts them together. So right now on our home, we have what the home is worth versus what we owe. There's a gap, and we could borrow against that gap. We choose not to do that because number one, it would increase our mortgage. And number two, if we need to sell the house, we have to sell it at that higher because even though the house is worth a certain amount, if you can't sell it for that amount and that's how much you owe, then you're having to pay at closing. You're having to pay off whatever is owed before you can officially close.
Right. Okay, so to answer in another way that people sometimes use their home equity line of credit. Okay, so let me back up. Using or getting a home equity line of credit is not the problem. That's not bad.
Yeah, it's
Getting
not
a
bad.
home equity line of credit is not a bad decision
Mm-mm.
when everybody is in unison with that.
And you normally don't only pay the interest. So I've never heard of somebody getting a HELOC and only paying
The interest. No.
the interest. Like normally you would pay down because you want to pay it down so that there's more of that gap between what your home is worth and how much you owe.
Right. And then the other thing is that, and like Patrice used great examples. I ended up with a HELOC on the property that I live in currently, and I've done some other stuff. I do I do some stuff. But one of the things I did was I wanted to renovate the entire base, most of the base. So put an extra bedroom, all this stuff down in the basement. But I increased the value of the property.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't just borrow the money. Sometimes people do a home equity line of credit and only pay off debt because they can be used for debt or loan consolidation, or debt consolidation is what they call it, where they pay off all your debt and then you have the home equity line of credit. But what you did is you took an asset and you made it a liability because now you paid off something, but you didn't get more for it. You didn't get more value in the property for it. You used the value in the property to come out of debt. Now, I'm not saying that's bad because a person may owe 19% on interest on credit cards or whatever. So it could be a great positioning. But when I consult people or counsel people on that, what I tell them is you don't close the accounts because, well, anyway, there's some dynamics, but you don't start using the credit cards again. Because if you do, all you're going to do is reposition yourself to do the same thing over again. So the home equity line of credit does have a purpose.
Yeah.
I've known people that did it and paid for, college for their kids. I mean, there's a lot of reasons that you can literally take the value of your property and do it. But Patrice has an excellent point, as always. When you get ready to sell, all those notes are due and payable
first.
And you don't want to be in a position where it is what they call
upside down.
Yeah, where it's under valued and you owe more, because then they call that a short sell. And when you short sell, there are some other dynamics that happen to that, and your credit is involved in that.
And so here, thank you for the super chat. How many years is Kouri facing for the financial crimes? She has not went to court yet for the financial crimes. This is only the for what she did to her husband. that is what we are taking a look at. And I am saving y'all's questions as they come in. I think because the judge would give limiting instructions because the allegation that I say allegation, but we saw the document where she used her husband's business bank statement and put her business on top of that. And that is fraud. That is, if you wire it, if you email it to the bank, that's wire fraud. that is fraud. And it might be multiple counts of fraud, but can you speak to people not going to jail and not doing crimes? Don't lie. Anytime I've had to prove income to a bank. So I am self-employed and my income can kind of fluctuate and everything. I think when we purchased the home, I was working for a company. I wasn't self-employed at that time. But I always make sure to provide accurate documents. We were gifted money at a time, and we always claim it. So so there's under a certain amount you don't have to claim, over a certain amount, or because sometimes if the bank sees that a family member wired you money that's going towards your down payment, the bank wants to see if that was a loan. And so sometimes that person will have to, and we always do the truth. So do not lie on those documents. And so for our home, we had to provide a letter that just said this money was a gift and that we weren't, that it wasn't something that we had to pay back. But going ahead.
Right. No. These are great questions. I'm looking at the chat now and I'm like, wow, these are amazing questions. I love it. Okay.
Was it fraud with the best friends? So the best friend's house gets a little murky because I think it's going to come down to both of their word.
Well, the issue with it.
Yeah.
Okay. So you see the deposit because the lady saw the money go in. So once the money went in, Kouri pulls it out and does other stuff with it. Kouri, and this is what the people who are defending Kouri said, well, she really didn't need to come up with the money until the house closed. The house never closed, so officially she never had to come up with the money. But she can't give the girl back the money either. So let's talk about there is the relationship side. So when you look at her,
before you go there, let me just explain for anybody that's new. So Kouri had a best friend. I'm pretty sure I can say had, because you take $500 from me. So I will tell y'all, my mom, she's able to access one of my accounts. Okay. And two times this year, I have had to text or call my mom to say like, hey, just a heads up, I think, because it was an accident. It was no lie. It was 100% an accident. But I was like, I'm seeing money going to your rental properties association, and
that's not exactly what she said, y'all. Let me tell y'all. You see, she tried to fix the story like it's all. What she said is, she said, I see this weird movie. Basically, this amount came out of my account. I just need to know if it's you, because she's gonna do a tigger on the bank. She's gonna pounce on the bank if it's not me. But she said, okay, wait a minute. Let me ask her first, because I don't want this to be reversed out if she did it.
Or like, because it can be a crime. And but the good thing, because if the bank asked me, did you give someone permission to take, because the first
amount of money, right?
The first transactions, and the thing that looked weird. So I'm telling the whole story. It was like $200, then it was like $500, and then it was like $1,000. And I was like, so
whoa.
To me, it looked like somebody was testing if the account worked, because the numbers kept going up. But I researched it, and I was like, these are taxes. Like who would use my account to pay taxes?
My mother with all her property. That's what happened. Anyway, but I love what you're saying. So this is the deal. When it comes to friends and family, and this is a great aha moment. When it comes to friends and family, I don't loan them money that I expect back because the relationship means too much to me. Now, let's talk about 45,000 or 2,000 or whatever. I recently, a year ago, I think it was, or 6 months or whatever, I loaned, that's a word. I loaned someone some money. It was a nice sizable amount. So this is what I did. I said, "What do you have for collateral?"
Oh.
And they looked at me and they said, "Whoa." I said, "Oh no, what do you have for collateral?" I don't want your dime. I don't want none of that. I want something that I can go down to the system and put a lien against. Because if you get hit by a truck, whatever, no offense, but I want you to live and pay me. But your estate, I'm gonna own that piece of property, or I'm gonna own that thing, right? So it was a nice thing that they had, and it was way more valuable than the money that I provided. And I put a lien against it. And so this is what the person said. I thought we were friends. We are. This is business. Now, so let's go to the thing. 45,000, you ain't got to worry about me giving you 45. I'm telling you, it's going to be a business transaction from the beginning. And that's the deal with this. And my heart went out to her friend, but it's a business transaction.
Because I wonder if they even had like a written agreement.
Not according to what I saw.
If so I've had friends rent a room from me, and we do a lease. We draw up a lease. And so I moved offices last year, and I think the owner of the building, I think it was his first time, because he wanted to put it in Patrice Berry's name. And I was like, oh no, this is my practice. I need to edit this to 4 Rivers, but yes, comma Patrice Berry, but this is my business address, because I wanted to make sure that it was tied to my business and that it wasn't on me personally. I always pay my bills. Okay. I pay my bills if I forget a bill. So one time my internet at the office went out because I missed the bill. And from there on out, my internet was on auto pay. Like, I do not mess with my money. And that's where I wish the friend, number one, if you're going to buy a property from a friend, if you're going to use a friend's credit, make sure that you have a written agreement. I would not have given the $45,000 to Kouri. I would have given it to a title company. I would have given it to somebody to hold. I would have kept it because I think she was then paying Kouri the rent of almost $3,000 a month, and her family
got evicted.
Her and her 4 kids and her partner or husband, they were evicted after paying out all of that money, and she was just left. Yeah, go ahead.
Somebody said she did go and sign the transfer documents with a notary.
But Kouri never filed it.
Yeah.
She signed it, but then it was on Kouri to file it with the and who would have thought that, like, you have to check to make sure that it was actually filed. But that was
ugly. So, okay, so let's do a couple things. I said something, but I don't want to miss people, because I saw somebody say I loan my mother money. Patrice could come and ask me for anything.
I forgot. So I just want to clarify, she paid the mortgage company directly. She did. So for the which is sad to get evicted from that, she did pay the rent directly to the mortgage company. I apologize. Thank you for that.
Thank you. If Patrice asks me for anything, number one, she has access to everything, right? And so even though she would say it's a loan and I would say it's a loan, right? But she knows that she don't pay, there's nothing that's going to hurt our relationship, right? There's just nothing. However, because it's not like, who gonna get it if something happened to me anyway? It's hers. I just look at it very differently when it's someone like that. So when I do that and it's a family member, if my brother asked me, I would give it, and maybe we would have some legal whatever, or maybe not. But I'm not going to allow that money to separate me from the relationship.
So I've seen. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No.
So I've seen multiple people mentioning gambling addiction, and in Kouri's Sedona letter, or that thing that she wrote about her life story, she mentions her mother having a gambling addiction. And people have to be careful when you grow up in a household with somebody that struggles with alcohol. Sometimes you might not struggle with alcohol, you might struggle with food. If you grow up with somebody that struggles with food, you might not struggle with food, you might struggle with, something else. Like, because I don't think Kouri would call what she was doing gambling, but all of us looking at it, I think so closing is really cool. So buying the dopamine hit from buying a property, and I think she never wanted to be poor again. Because I've seen somewhere her talking about growing up cleaning toilets for people in these really, park, whatever this high end area was, and that it was her goal to own properties there. But sometimes if you're so stuck on this goal and you don't care who you bulldoze over to get there, like there has to be some like accountability, respect, because that's where fraud, like that's when people can start getting creative in their financing, but in a way that could land you, in jail. But go on ahead.
Yeah, the interesting thing is people talk about the IRS and all that. So let's talk about it from a federal perspective just for a second. If she did not have access and she really did that by $250,000 and he really did not give her permission to do that, anytime you go over a certain dollar amount, it's a federal crime. So a lot of this stuff is going to hit, and she's going to get hit on that side. The insurance, she's going to get hit on that side. But the interesting thing is money habits or money management or principles of money work whether you have $10 or a 10 million. If you don't have any management skills with $10, you can have 10 million and still not have any management skills. Her issue was deeper than the money. She was not a good steward of that piece, right? Because look at how when she got the insurance money, and we haven't talked about that yet, when she got the insurance money, it disappeared. In less than a few months, she ended up with $1.3 million, and her bank account in the end said 860. There's a problem. So when you're living, and this is just something all of us can be aware of, just because they're saying that, whatever on TV or whatever, whatever, we have living in somebody else's or thinking they're doing better, or me pretending I'm something that I'm not. That's expensive, mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, spiritually, everything, because she's sitting there eating while somebody else is in pain, but she doesn't have any remorse about it. Somebody asked a question about, she's upset with the sisters because they won't give her her house, but it was never her house. It was never her house. She didn't buy it. So what happens when you're doing that? Because she said, I want what belongs to me. However, go through the process of getting it the right way. I think she had the potential to do some things, but
so I don't know that she would have listened to somebody else.
She wasn't listening. That was part of the problem. I think she thought, I would say narcissistic, but I don't have no PH or D behind my name, y'all. I ain't got none of that. But I would say that she has some tendencies that Dr. Barry has
overinflate her own intelligence and ability, and really sensitive, hearing feedback as criticism. Yeah. She has the nerve to blame her husband. He didn't trust me enough, ma'am. You're squandering everything.
And so people became collateral damage. These situations became collateral damage. If somebody would ask her today, because she still thinks she's a multimillionaire and she did the right thing. That's the sad part. Anyway, go ahead, Doc.
So Marissa asked a great question. How could she do this to a friend? So there are some people, and the real them shows up in conflict. Okay. So I am not a particularly litigious person, but I wish somebody would. $45,000. Oh no. I'm not going to lie in court because I think her friend, she looked so hurt.
She was. Oh my God. You could see
You
it.
could see the pain. And Kouri did kind of look, but I don't know if that was how bad it was making her look in front of the jury. Does that make like I don't know what I don't know what Kouri was thinking. But because when her ex-lover was getting all emotional, she was stone-faced. She's over there like, you big dummy. Like she was having no reaction to him. With that friend that she has truly lost due to her actions. But I still don't think that she would take responsibility and accept it. I think she would blame it on her getting arrested. And it's like, it wasn't about you getting arrested. It wasn't about any of those things. She dropped the ball, and I don't know that she cared because it's as though what she wanted, she wasn't good at telling herself no.
You're so sweet. She wasn't good at telling her. Okay, so the other thing, though, going back to her having issues about being poor, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But she was poor.
I mean, millions of dollars in debt.
She was poor. Anytime you spend $1, you can make $20 million a year. If you spend 20 million in one, you're broke. You're poor. So you can look like whatever you want to out there, but you still know the pressure, and let's get to it. The pressure of her doing what she's doing and being found out was an issue. And that somebody said, how could she do it to her friend? How could she do that to her husband? How could she do it to her children? There was some act of her selfishness that she was saying that this is just part of it. And I don't know that she started off wanting to do that to her friend. I think her friend just became collateral damage. I don't think she started off doing it.
I don't think the friend did anything wrong. And the reason why I wanted to have my mom on here and talk about it is like, how could the friend have protected herself more? But I think the friend didn't know, because I think the friend thought she was successful. Nobody knew what was really going on behind the scenes. Nobody knew that she was robbing Peter to pay Paul. Like nobody knew just how bad it was. I think Eric, her husband, might have had an idea, and that's why he wanted to protect his legacy. Mm-hmm. Making sure, because if she had got access to his estate, it would have been gone in a year, maybe two. She would have spent it all, and the kids wouldn't have anything. I am so glad. And the defense is trying to make a big deal over the estate paying $14,000 for this forensic accountant, but that needed to happen to make sure, because they had to justify why they were not letting her have certain things. And it's like, she's doing all these things over here, and also the estate wanted to make sure that she wasn't involved in his death. And that's when she starts telling them that, oh, the ME said it's something in his lungs. Like, she's over here, trace amounts of fentanyl. I think he had 5 times. Like, it wasn't trace amounts. It wasn't. And any thoughts on that part?
Wow. When people tell you who they are,
believe them.
Believe them.
Not tell you, because Kouri's telling you when people show you.
English, French, German.
Believe your eyes.
Believe it. So the thing about it is that love is honestly not blind. And if it was, he would have never went and got the trust.
Yeah.
He went and got the trust. Part of it, I believe, I don't know him, but part of when he saw, and then he saw, but then when she did the thing with the 250,000, I think it jarred him to such a place that he said, I've got to protect the kids. He wasn't trying to protect her. He was trying to protect the kids in case something happened.
And I don't think he could have seen what she was doing. Like, I don't think he could have fully known. So what if you're married to somebody that's millions of dollars in debt, will that affect your credit? Because if the credit isn't in our name, so until you go to divorce. If you go to divorce, that's when sometimes outstanding credit comes to light.
Well, this is part of the issue. Part of the issue is part of what she did. Remember, she changed the way, and we haven't talked about this yet. She changed it where the aunt owned 81%, which is the aunt's going to have to deal with this drama. 81% or 80% of the company, and she owned 20 or something, right? So let's talk about when you set up an LLC. I'm going to get technical. Okay, so it's a pass through your personal taxes because it's not a corporation.
Yes.
So, and I know that people are going to say, "Dang,
Mama,
so,
she was lying. She was
lying.
She was reporting he was paying higher income. She didn't have the income. So my mom does my LLC, my
S Corp and all of that wonderfulness.
But she does my but my Mind Your Legacy, my YouTube and everything is the pass through. So my mom is my business accountant, and I pay her for it. I don't pay her what she's worth. I'm sorry. I pay her, and then I give her a bonus to avoid. I give her a bonus. IRS, do not ask why I give her a bonus, but she gets
because I'm worth it. Don't get it twisted.
she gets a bonus at the end of the year.
But let me say this, and this is really important because I like you bringing that up. But I'm qualified. I got enough credentials. I mean, people say, "Why don't you put yourself on a wall?" Why am I covering up a wall talking about what I do? If it don't show off, and that's the thing with her, she wanted to show off what she didn't have. Most people that have certain things, like that forensic, that chick, she didn't. I'm telling you, she was worth every penny they paid her.
Sometimes people call that new money, but I don't believe that, because there are people that are newer to having money that don't. So I live in a nice area, and I don't talk about where I live, mostly for privacy and all of that. But even if I meet somebody in my area and they're like, "Oh, where do you live?" I give the general. I don't say exactly where I live unless they say they live there too, and I'm like, "Oh," and that's fine. My mom raised me as a single mother. She is phenomenal. There were times, and she will tell her story sometimes, when she made the decision to leave my dad when she was pregnant with me, and the judge looked at her like, "I think she's just pregnant and she's emotional," and she was like, "Sir, I've thought about this. Like, it really, I'll co-parent with him, but that's about it." We to save us financially. Am I wrong? You decided to rent.
I'm listening.
So my mom decided to rent the house that we owned, and we slept on the floor
of somebody else's house.
Orange shag carpet at somebody else's house until she could get until we moved to Japan, and we were provided housing. There was I think it's a per diem. Like there was an amount of money that you get for those things over there. I still slept in a double papasan chair, so I didn't have a crib. I had a double papasan chair, and so my mom is absolutely phenomenal. And so she's been at both ends. She's lived in a $1 million house.
Okay.
She's lived in a multi-million-dollar house, and she's also slept on she's also been homeless, unhoused. And so that's why I wanted to have you on, but you had to change your thinking. You had to change what you were doing. And Kouri did not change what she was like. But I think she felt entitled to it. So
money doesn't feel emptiness.
Yeah.
Money does not feel, and things don't feel emptiness.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to do your internal work. Like what you said, but part of the issue, she didn't say it. Part of the reason I kept the house, and this is the deal. You talking about a wonderful trick. Trick. You get once you purchase a house, you get a 30-year mortgage.
Mhm.
So you can put that, and you can move that property to a rental property, right? And it becomes part of your.
Now, if you purchase it and say you're going to live there, you have to
No,
live.
you have to live in it.
Oh, so I
You have
I
to
don't.
live in it first. Thank you, because praise the Lord. I forgot who we dealing with. Don't do crimes, y'all. Don't do crimes. Okay, so you have to when you purchase it. We lived in the house. We had it built, actually. Lived in the house. Then when I got a divorce and everything was final, well, yeah, in the middle of being final, I refused to sell the house.
Mhm.
Now that
because
refusal,
he was going to get because
he was going to get money. Y'all can pray for me later. No judgment. I said, oh no. I said that would be a no. Anyway, I haven't always been as sweet as I am right now. There was some horns involved. Anyway, so I said no. So we ended up living, because you have to understand, the thing about it was, I said, this is equity. I'm not gonna whatever I decided. But it turned out to be a good move, because that was the first house that I ended up putting in rental.
Yeah.
And then after that, every single house we ever moved to, and we were moving every 5 years, moved to in the States, I ended up moving it into a rental situation, right? I purchased it because I knew we were going to live in it, but then I moved it to rental property, and it became an income generator.
Because
right?
when you sell a house, and if you haven't owned it and lived in it for I think is it 5 years?
I'm waiting for you to say what. What do you
So
mean?
the IRS, you pay for the profit, you pay.
Okay, so
Okay.
if you're single and you've lived in a property, you have a long-term capital gains.
Okay.
Lived in it, the property, typically a year to 2 years. We won't get into details, but let's say at least 2 for 2 years. Let's just say 2 years. It's not that, but let's say 2. Then you get a chance, and hear me, y'all, walk away with $250,000 of profit without it being taxed. So a person like Kouri, she could have done some things to start building up income to do some of these things had she been single, not married, whatever. But the issue is when you're trying to do it the fast, easy, lottery kind of way, and I'm the gambling kind of lottery kind of way, you always get caught. You always get caught because the system is the system. And if you don't learn how the operating system works, it's going to bite you. And that's what she kept on getting bitten.
If she hadn't went for her husband, she probably wouldn't have got caught. What happened was his family did the research, because the state, it's my understanding, the state paid this forensic expert over 200, because she reviewed so many documents, and she put the story together. She's putting that, like, she did a phenomenal job, because they needed to follow it beyond the estate. Like, they needed it because the estate is only going to follow what's related to Eric, but the state needed them to just follow all of her money and give us an idea. And she did it, and wow.
I mean, to the point that it takes a lot to impress me. I was so impressed with her, like, Dad. But let me tell you why. When you follow the money, you can find out. If I look at somebody's checkbook, I can tell you who they are. Or their debit cards, I can tell you who you are. I can tell you what your issues are based on money, because I know money. I know money, right? So when I see those transactions,
so my issues are Amazon right now, Disney Cruise Line. Those are and Wegmans. I spend way too much money. But go ahead.
And I just left Costco, and I bought
I intentionally did not go with Lamar Lamar went to Costco this morning. And I intentionally did not go with him because I wouldn't have made good decisions.
Okay, so I went to Costco, and I was sitting in the parking lot, and I said, "Why exactly are you here?" And I said, "I don't know. Let me go in and see." And I came out with some stuff. But this is the difference. There's nothing wrong with spoiling you. So what the concept I tell people is that when you start making money or whatever, take a piece of it and do something you enjoy doing. That if you can, and live beneath your means. When
Yes.
you live beneath your means, you don't have the pressure. That's what the state was doing. They were proving that she was under so much financial pressure that she was at the end of her rope.
Yes.
And that is a couple of decisions, like the mansion she was buying.
That had
And
all those
I
problems.
just can't.
Anytime.
What was the question you popped up? I'm sorry.
Oh, so this was just I love you too. So much knowledge. Thank you, Tornado Annie. Thank you. But
Okay.
I did want to say, so to everybody listening, make sure to have an emergency fund, even if you can put $5 a month, because there's something there were times I think her account got to like cents.
No, it got negative.
Her account was negative.
You had to be positive. It wasn't positive. It was negative.
So my credit card is on automatic payment, and I had way too much fun last month, and I had to check to make sure there was going to be enough, and I think there was enough in so I have my checking, I have savings, and when my savings drops below a certain number, I start feeling a little ugh. And I made an extra student loan payment. So it is my goal, because I believe I'm under $6,000 left on what started at $200,000 on my student loans. So I'm believing I can pay those off by the end of the year. I also I looked at my expenses, and there was one expense that was not serving me. So y'all know I signed up to have somebody else be my biller. And it was causing me more drama. Like, it was way too much back and forth. And because I had a biller, I couldn't edit some things when I knew there was a problem. And so I was just like, nope, I'm going back to billing myself, because I needed my business account dropped to a certain amount that Kouri would have been glad to have had this amount in if she had that amount, she probably would have tried to look for, I don't know, she probably would have
bought nothing to the house.
And but I think she despised how successful her husband was. Because imagine being married to somebody bringing in $32,000 a month.
A month.
He's bringing in $32,000 a month, and he probably had because Kouri needs limits. And I think she wanted this business to be what could become successful and let her leave him and continue to have her children live at the same level. But she just kept going backwards. She just kept going backwards.
So, okay, so let's talk about mindset for just a second.
Go ahead.
Money does not, or stuff doesn't change your mindset. When you have a scarcity mindset, no matter how much comes in, for you is scarcity. Let me tell you why. Because every time money came in, she made sure her mindset said scarcity. So she started doing things to affirm what she was thinking. So let me tell you, your brain, let me do just a neural for just a minute. Your brain says yes to what you believe.
Yes.
And it wants to make you tell the truth, right? So you said, there's not enough. So when money comes in, she started doing things to make sure there's not enough. And said, see there, there's not enough. And so she said, see there, there's not enough. So it kept on confirming her scarcity mindset. She was living in this $3 million ranch, had all this stuff going on. But it wasn't connected to her. Her husband, I believe, had an idea of who she was, or else they would have done some business transactions together. So he said, that'll be a no. She wasn't willing to listen to anybody else, because the loudest person that you hear is you. So when you're saying your brain, your self-talk is saying things to you, you can sabotage the brilliance that could be. And if she was listening to anybody or read any of the documents, especially like the document that came from the Army Corps of Engineers, I would have said O to the no in 12 languages to that. But she was so determined that she was right, that she did it anyway. And that's because she didn't think, I don't think she thought she was worthy or something. I don't know.
But like this was gonna make her work. Like I think having these houses, saying that she was the owner of that place, and
if you got hard money, you ain't owning jack. You don't own nothing. If you got hard money lenders, you don't own nothing.
But I think she thought she was smarter than them or something. Like I don't think she saw it as I'm digging a deeper hole, because she just kept digging a deeper hole.
But I think she thought, I agree with you, because she thought at some point she's got to win. You know how somebody, gambling addiction, right? So she kept on saying, well, at some point it's got to say yes, because it's going to be yes. She's expecting a yes, but she kept on doing things that was confirming the no.
So I want to move on to talking about the boyfriend, the lover boyfriend. She was married, having a whole affair. He seemed embarrassed to me as they were going over the messages. And I think he also wanted to say something. So, Mama, I will tell you, when they went to swear him in, they said, "Do you swear to tell the truth?" He said, "What exactly is the truth?" or something. He said the whole truth. Like he didn't say yes. Okay. So the state could have asked him so many more questions, and they decided, like, I think the state kept it simple, because I think he was potentially a loose cannon. Yes. Because so the judge kicks the jury out, and the judge asks him, "Do you know the difference between the truth and a lie?" He's like, "Yes." And he's like, "Do you promise to tell the truth?" And he said, "Yes." So the judge was like, "Good enough for me. Let's bring the jury back." So then they start showing all these messages, and he becomes so visibly, and he's making these comments, because he's reading all of where the jury, Eric's family, everybody is reading them talking about their love. They were getting together on Valentine's Day, on the day she was on the day she allegedly had the first poisoning attempt. And because it was but a lot of people have thoughts about him. I think he's a very emotional person, and they asked him, "Did Kouri love you?" And he goes, like he doesn't say, like, because they said, did you love her? And he's like, "Yes." "Did she love you?" And so I don't know that Kouri can fully love someone that's not her, because people seem to be a means to an end. This is just Dr. Barry. I'm just talking. I don't know her, but I think she loves herself most. And if you're doing something, if you're benefiting her, she'll keep you. If you're not, she will drop you in a heartbeat. And because allegedly after Eric died, she asked, because he's a Iraq war veteran, so she asked him if he had ever killed anyone, and he did not give the answer on the stand, but his answer, I believe the answer is likely yes. And she asked him, "How did it feel?" Which is, if I was on the jury, I mean, there is plenty in this case. Like, it was just like, that's weird. After your husband dies, why do you ask somebody after your husband dies, how did you feel about killing someone? Because, in my suspicion, I don't know this to be true, I don't know that she felt bad about it. I think she didn't want to get caught. I think her distress and her getting upset, and when he died, she didn't realize that there was this trust where she wasn't going to have power over anything. Those kids were protected. And I don't think she expected that, because she allegedly, like, assaulted his sister when she found out about that. And so so to me, I know people, so I don't know if he has ADHD, PTSD. can also make somebody shaky and nervous. He did admit to having a history of substance issues. Courts do not drug test people unless you're there for family court and there's suspicion that the person might currently be using. Or if it, like, let's say somebody is there for a DUI, that I've covered cases like that, where somebody arrived to court drunk. They drove, and I think they might have driven, I don't know, but they arrived to court drunk for their DUI hearing. And so, but for witnesses, they normally are not going to drug test witnesses. He was giving PTSD vibes to me personally. Any thoughts on? Oh, and also, like, she didn't always pay him with money.
Money. I like the way you said that. Money.
But he didn't, like, he was, I think, I don't know. And he might have saw a future. I don't know. Their relationship went back and forth. It seemed, it was odd. And looking back, I wonder if he feels used. A lot of us feel like he was used, but also, like, he got a truck, he got $25,000. That doesn't, replace somebody's heart. But I think he was more upset about the fact that somebody he loved was accused of, like, killing their husband while they were having a whole affair. That she's over here buying these $5,000 this vacation package for a month after her husband dies, but, like, at the time she bought it, I believe he was still alive. And so I have questions about that. But the fact that he called, so I'm glad that he called Eric's family. So the victim's family, he called them to say Kouri and I were having an affair, because that might not have come up because Kouri got rid of her phone. So a lot of those messages we saw was because his data was recovered. Any thoughts? I know we were more talking about the financial stuff.
Yeah. But let's talk about the piece for him, because for him, I mean, we talk about money, but relationships are wealth too.
Yes.
Relationships are wealth too. So she utilized his capacity and capability to come to her, to get her what she wanted. So I think part of the breaking down and all of that was the abuse side of, like, how did I get here? And to be honest with you, if I was, and I'm not him, but if I was dealing with somebody in that situation, it's like, how did I not know? How did I not know this? So so yeah, I think he felt emotionally used and financially used, because remember, he was doing work.
Yeah.
So he was doing work, and he thought he was doing it for the long run. He thought, and when he got to it, he realized that she didn't love him, but he loved her. And that's got to be a place of pain. So, yeah.
And somebody asked about someone having, because I don't believe, but I won't speak to things I don't know for sure. So I wanted to talk about her friends. Because her friends, so the first friend talked about the fact that Kouri had joked about like wanting her husband dead. That was the gist of it. That wasn't exactly what she said, but the gist of it was that Kouri had joked about wanting her husband dead. And she thought that was strange, because even she had went through a divorce, and there's some things that you just don't say out loud. And the defense appropriately tried to attack her credibility, but it kind of made it, she was able to provide additional statements later. The jury, I don't know how much, the jury is going to give, how much weight the jury is going to put on any of these statements, because I feel like there's so much other evidence out here. Did you have anything to say about this witness?
Yeah, I liked her. She was
gorgeous.
And I liked what she talked about, because she said, I like the fact that she talked about, had been through a divorce.
Yes.
And she knew how you can think a thing, but just because you're thinking it doesn't give you permission to say it. And then how the fact that people were giggling about it, but she didn't consider it funny, and it was taken lightly. But in order for it to, the first things are created twice. It's created in our head, and it's then manifests in the real. So for her to be thinking about it, then to be bold enough to say it, and that's levels of intentionality. So by the time she got to the real deal, it was, I'm not, it's kind of hard.
And you have knowledge of when a house goes to a trust and it's not owned by the individual, but instead the trust manages the house. So Tanika's 2 cents. Tanika's phenomenal. We collaborate a lot. If y'all want all things Sarah Boone, and she covers a bunch of other topics, but Tanika's 2 cents is phenomenal. You two ladies are a vibe, and I love it. Why is Kouri confused? I don't believe she's as confused. So when Kouri doesn't get her way, she starts acting confused. I don't think she's actually. So some people will try to manipulate you by having you do something that is not right. So I've had people like want me to pretty much lie so they don't get in trouble, but they did something wrong. And like if you did something wrong, I'm not gonna lie about that. If you did something wrong.
But the thing about that is, and I like it. Thank you for the question, because part of what it is okay. So the prenup was one thing.
Yes.
So the prenup is in case of a divorce, right? It's not in case of a death. But he protected them because the trust becomes active upon death. Until then, the person, like I just finished mine, redid my trust. So as long as I'm living, I can do anything in the trust, right? I can handle, I can manage, I can move property in it, I can do all that. But as soon as I'm not breathing, 105 years old, unless rapture happens, but so anyway, when I'm not breathing, then the people who are over the trust have all the power. His sisters have all the power. That's why she's so upset, because she knew the will, based on what she thought she was going to have access, because she got the kids. So she thought, I got the kids. Even if he gave everything to the kids, they got to come through me. So as far as she's concerned, she deserved, this is a key word, she deserved the house. And because her kids are going to have stability there and all that stuff, she wasn't aware about this other situation.
And I've said that she was willing to pay them for the house. I don't think she was going to.
She ain't got no money. Let's start there. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Wait. Let's go one step there. She has no money. Did you hear the forensic accountant says, not only does she not have any money, I love this lady. She said she has no ability to borrow a penny. Now, she didn't say a penny. I'm going to say a penny. She has no ability to borrow money. So even if she had the house, she would have to use the house as collateral but I know who won't give her a loan?
So Tanika, I personally saw that phone conversation as a smear campaign.
It was.
So a smear campaign is where somebody is trying to ruin the perception of other people. So I think she was smearing the name of his sisters to get other people on her side. So that they would be like, how could y'all be so evil to her to not even give her the house? Of course she had nothing to do with his death and blah, blah. Like, but no, but they weren't aware. Well, I think her best friend was aware of the HELOC. I think Bestie did know, but maybe, I don't know. But I don't think that because when she said that she would just give them the money for it, I don't think that was true.
You ain't got no money.
Kouri lies. Like she lies. She lies.
Yeah. And then this is the other thing, Dr. Barry. The thing about it is not only did she lie, I like the smear campaign that you were talking about, because in the stuff that she said, she also said all this stuff about how he was taking care of his anger issues and how he was doing all this stuff and how he agreed that all the money I was making and that he was basically wrong. And she put the HELOC, like, oh, he's so glad I did that. So, yeah.
Ooh, so Nurturing 2 asked about ADHD, and you're probably talking about the lover, the ex-lover. And so he was like moving around a lot, but I've also, a lot of my veterans move around a lot, and having all those people looking at him could, like, he's on the stand, he's the cameras, all of that could have increased anxiety. But I don't know any of his diagnoses. I know individuals with ADHD can go into the military, but they have to be off of medication. They often can get on medication while they're in the military, but those are just general statements about that. Dr. Berry, do you think Kouri was shocked that her friends turned on her? She was big mad. Let me try to find a freeze frame of the way that Kouri was looking. Like, she was darting faces at her and at one point she's like the looks that she is giving them was, wow.
How dare you?
And they had the nerve to talk about how the defense, the defense actually called for a mistrial because the state is making faces at the jury, but the defense is doing foolish stuff. But how can you but Kouri's over here making all kinds of faces. So I don't know. It is what it is. So somebody asked, wait, is it a bigger issue that she betrayed her BFF or Eric? So two things can be true at the same time. So I don't think she minded betraying Eric. I'm just being honest. I'm not surprised that she betrayed her best friend because she wanted money. And I think she would use anybody to get money, I think. And there are some people that think if you leave yourself open to being taken advantage of, there are people that will take advantage of you. I would never. I would absolutely never. She seems narcissistic and cold. Can someone have no feelings about hurting others, those they loved? Sometimes that goes, so often people on the narcissism scale, they have issues with other people's emotions. Their emotions can get big. They really know their emotions well, but they struggle with identifying and empathizing with the emotions of others. Sometimes people with psychopathic traits. So those are people that's antisocial personality, people with sociopathic or psychopathic traits. They're like, they get upset when they get caught, but there often is no emotional response or very little emotional response after doing something like this. All right. I probably got more upset over accidentally scraping a car in a parking lot than she did over what she's alleged to have done. Like, I felt so badly for the boyfriend. I think Kouri used and manipulated him. What do you think? And so I think we got to that one. Now, I think they used each other they're his half brother or step brother. If y'all go over and watch Gossip, Rumor, and Innuendo, she has all the tea. Okay, because she said something to the effect of his half brother or step brother has talked about online that he uses women for money, and I don't know. So you got to go over to Kathy to get more information about that. Gossip, Rumor, and Innuendo. This one, I want to talk about this. What impact do you think Kouri's upbringing had? So I think Eric probably knew how to manage money. I don't think Kouri learned how to manage her money, and I don't think she realized just how bad she was at it. And I don't think she was open to feedback on just how bad she was at managing money. So I was raised by an accountant. My mom let me have my first credit card when I was 17, when I got a car.
Younger.
16 years old?
16.
when I was 16 years old. And it was like a $200 limit. She was on the account too. And but it let me build credit. So my credit score stays above 830. Like I don't think my credit has ever fallen under 800 or like real close, if it ever. And that might have been my student loans. I had a whole bunch of student loans and I wasn't making a lot of money. So there was a time I had to live on my credit cards. So I was upside down. So let's chat for a second. And I graduated with my doctorate. I was a doctor in 2009 and was unemployed. There were about 3 months that I was unemployed, living. I think I owned my home. I owned my home.
You were living in the house, and yeah,
I was going back and forth between your home and my home, but somebody told me that sometimes the year after you graduate, you might not make a ton of money. So I had some loan money that I could use for my mortgage payments. I do not recommend this, because I had a job. And when I say I had a job, I was underemployed. So I was making, I think, $20 an hour, doctorate, $20 an hour. Maybe 25. It might have been 25, but it wasn't above $25 an hour. But my bills were high. Let me tell you, I did not have internet. I had my cell phone. I don't know if my cell phone had data. Because I know that, because I could get on the internet on my phone. I don't think I wasn't using hotspot at that time, because I used to do my notes for my job. I would go to the McDonald's. Hopefully everything was secure. I would use the Wi-Fi at McDonald's to write my notes. But I made sure, like, if I didn't have the money, I wasn't going on trips. I wasn't doing all these lavish things. I got a roommate to be able to help with the bills during that time. I did eventually get some employment, but it wasn't enough to cover my bills. And that year was very tough. The market crashed. So I forgot to mention that 2009 market crashed. Everybody had trouble with jobs. A lot of people had issues with stuff. So my mom talked about owning that multi-million-dollar house. There came a time when the value of that house dropped 3 times.
Well, let me tell you, I lost. Okay, so in one day, I lost over $500,000
in value.
No, it was real money because I had the money invested. So it's real money. So $500,000
because you used investment properties to purchase that home when the value dropped. And so at that time, the government was offering options to be able to short sell without having to owe a whole bunch of taxes. And so my mom appropriately took, accountability, like she used the programs. She moved in with me.
Wait a minute. Whoa. Pause right there. I went from 7,000 square feet to 1,700.
1,500. It was
no. My part was 700. Your house was yours.
You did. And when I was paying the mortgage, I stayed in the master bedroom. When she paid the mortgage, she moved into the master bedroom. And so the reason why I'm sharing this is because sometimes people are in crisis and they don't make adjustments. You can't be in crisis acting like nothing's changed and everything's normal. Like, no, like life changed, things changed. And my thing is mortgage first and then student loans. So my student loans weren't due for 6 months. And then I was able to do a graduated plan where they started really, really low. I think it was like 200. I don't know. They started, but I never missed a payment. Because student loans, the government protects their loans in a way that feels evil sometimes. But they get theirs. But going ahead, were you going to say something?
No. I was reading about at KDP. She was talking about she has a doctorate in accounting, and I was just reading. So this is, even though I lost a $500,000 over $500,000 in a day, and was real money. It was real money. Patrice rightly said it, but I didn't, the way it had to be grace. I can't even talk about it. So I refurnished Patrice's whole. I said, "What do you want? Let's take, because we talking about the whole house was furnished, pretty high end. Because I love what I love, right? So we refurnished her house. We refurnished my brother's house, and then I started. Who wants furniture? My brother looked at me and he said, "Put it in storage."
No.
I said, "No. Why am I driving?" Hear me, y'all. I said, "Why am I driving a bill?" Let me tell you the difference between a mindset is a growth mindset. I said, I did it once. I'm a millionaire. I can do it again.
Yeah.
So I just took the steps
and also
to do it again.
When you own an 8,000 square foot house, the bills, even with, but like you got to clean that whole house.
Yeah. But see, that's what I tell people. I said, okay, so let's redefine asset for just a moment. The definition of an asset at Katie under sketch P, the definition of an asset from the accounting perspective is very different. So the asset from my perspective is, if it doesn't pay me, it's not an asset. It's a liability, because that house, part of the reason I moved out, it wasn't because I couldn't pay the mortgage. I was paying the mortgage. I never missed a payment. It was because the maintenance on the property, for me to get back to the value, was because I had calculated it because of my brilliance, right? I said it's gonna take about 10 years. I'm not sitting in this house and pay 10 years to send an 8,000 for what? So I can get up in the morning, look at the water. I'll go to the beach. I'll go to the beach. So when things happen in your life and you have to adjust, don't hate the adjustment.
Yes.
Handle it to the best of your. I'm not saying I was excited about losing it, but it taught me something. It taught me that an asset pays me. And I went in, and I'm gonna kind of have a high
risk. Kouri, that was too high. That was never that was fraud. Like,
but I'm calculated.
Yes.
I'm calculated, because what I do is, don't enter into, whether it's marriage, whether it's a relationship, whether it's anything, don't enter into it without considering the cost. So I looked at the whole cost even when I started the project. I looked at the whole cost and said, you can do this. Because when I did it, Patrice was staying at the dorm, and she said, "Oh no, you can't live here." And I stay in the dorm. I'm coming to live with you. Right. So the thing about it is that it's not about the stuff. I saw coming out of this property. That's why I invested the other official property into this property. I was supposed to come out of the deal with $500,000 in my hand, like profit. That's not what happened, because you can't control things that are outside of you. So there are some things that, even in this situation with Kouri, she could not control outside things that happen.
And there was a good question about if her and Eric had divorced, because he probably would have had to pay her maybe $7,000 to $10,000
a month
support. I'm guessing it probably would have been somewhere. And I don't think he wanted to share the kids with her.
I don't think the kids wanted to be. I think it's deeper than that. I mean, I could be. I mean, I'm not the. Yeah. I think she didn't want them to compare the life with her versus the life with him.
So it was still about her, and it wasn't.
Yeah, it was about her.
Yeah. And her parents remarried, and the children from the prior marriage kind of hated her, and like the children from that marriage, according to Kouri. And that's where Kouri's perception could be off. She could just be off. And I'm not sure that Kouri, like I said, I mentioned before, I don't know that she knows how to truly love. If she is on the higher end of that narcissistic spectrum, you're loved through what you can do for them. And if you're stroking their ego, you are loved. But if you are not stroking their ego, you are the scum of the earth.
Yeah, and she was transactional. Don't you think she was more like transactional?
Very, very transactional. And so, all right.
I jumped into the middle of your story. I'm sorry.
No. But that was what I wanted to share, because, and I like contrasting real examples, because it's not like we're over here acting higher than thou, like, because what it is, she didn't make adjustments. She didn't compromise. And if you don't want to be married, then like, don't. So mama, your cup, did you make it? Which
Yeah.
cup?
Both of them.
So eventually, mama has, she makes those. You don't sell them anywhere.
I give them away to people who
I might have to eventually run a giveaway. So Kathy, I might do. So I'll have to think about it, how to do it and everything. Maybe by this summer. Y'all know I have so much to do. So let's get back to some of the friends' testimony, because the next friend, so we already talked about how hurt the former bestie was. And to me, but I thought she could have been meaner in her testimony, like, but she just told the facts. I think she just told the facts as they were. And my heart really broke for her. And once again, I don't think there is, she didn't know that Kouri wasn't to be trusted. And I, as a person, so some of y'all might have come in late where I mentioned my mom accidentally took some money out of my account, and I immediately had questions.
And I immediately returned it.
Immediately wired that money back into my account. And so but you could tell that friendship was over, I think. Once again, understandably, and that she thought that the paperwork was appropriately filed, and it wasn't. Then there was another friend that I think was called by the state. Her hair was amazing. Let me show. she so this friend, Miss Allie, okay, now you could tell that she was on Kouri's side, but she said things that I think hurt Kouri.
It did.
But there's a little, so I have friends that my husband, when he heard us talking to each other, he was like, y'all are mean. I was like, what? He was like, y'all are. So it reminded me of that vibe of like, when y'all get together, it might get a little toxic, because they're over here joking over the fact that Kouri, we're all joking that Kouri tried to kill Eric. She said it, that Kouri tried to kill Eric. And she's like, oh yeah, Eric said, or somebody said, don't eat anything Kouri gives you. Ma'am, do you remember your friend is on trial for giving him a Moscow Mule and giving him a poison sandwich? She's like, oh, he had an allergic reaction. But he texted her that he was sick, and she did not run home. She continued to hang out with her boyfriend. And so, somebody thought that. So, but I think she was terrified of what, of that Kouri wouldn't think she was doing good enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't. I think Kouri is the friend that has more of the power in this dynamic. So I think Allie is more of a friend to Kouri than I think Kouri is a friend to Allie. My general thoughts, I don't know that to be true. They probably went on some amazing retreats. They probably had a really good time together, drinking, doing whatever, having a good time. But we all need to know about where Bryce's pants are. So at some point, Eric's best friend, so they have a video that we have not seen yet because they need to redact the faces of the children. But it's my understanding that there's a video. This is the day after Eric died. They're having a party at the house. They call it Celebration of Life. Now, I will tell y'all, I went to a Celebration of Life last year, and at the repast, we were doing line dances.
Yeah.
So the woman who passed, she passed from terminal breast cancer, and she loved, it's like Jerusalem. It's a really hard line dance because my friend sent me the line dance to learn and hopefully try to teach everybody. Like I had to learn it, but we did a bunch of line dancing. But this was after, but like nobody was drunk. Nobody was, maybe I wasn't drunk. And but that was what the person who passed, like, and it was expected. So this was something, his was unexpected, but that's what they called it. They called it celebration of life. I still want to know about Bryce's pants. I do. I need to know. I agree. I think they were party friends, and I think she was there to try to help Kouri, but I think she made it worse. I think if I was on the jury, I would have wrote down, don't eat anything from Kouri. Eric thought she tried to kill him. And he changed. But that was before. So it was after he found out about the HELOC and consulted a divorce attorney that broke down that in Utah, it was normally 60-40. And right now, Utah is going 50-50. And when they started talking about the kids and stuff, she could tell he wanted to go he wasn't ready right now. And he was encouraged to talk to an estate planner because I think he was concerned about what Kouri would do with the finances justifiably. Let me know if y'all have any last questions. Yeah, like I think people can have celebrations of lives, but so nobody lost their pants, and there was a pool, but it was cold. We were in Florida. It was cold. There was a river. Was there a pool? I think there was a pool.
I know there's a river. I don't remember.
Yeah. I know there might not have been a pool. I know there was a river right back there.
And let me say one thing that happened, a question that happened much further up, is one of the people said, how did she pass her real estate license? And I'm going to make the assumption that the person thinks that they needed a real estate license in order to be a property investor. And the two are not the same.
So she said that she passed. So she has a master's.
Oh, she does. So she's smart. She's just.
So some master's programs are easier than others.
Okay, I'm not going to get involved in that.
I've seen how she writes.
I went to Regents, so they wasn't playing. So.
I've seen how she writes. Oh. And I think intelligence comes in a bunch of different ways. And also when you text, you're not in Word. So I think Word would correct some of the things that she did, but she has a master's, and I believe they did say, or she
had a real estate license,
that she had a real estate license.
Okay, good. But it's not required to be an investor, just information.
Yeah. Because you never took that test. Yeah, Jerusalem. Yeah. And so the family, they are from Guyana. So Guyana, because it's Guyana. Sometimes I can't say that. That is where they are from. And there were a bunch of Caribbean people. Somebody kissed me on the cheek, and that's not a part of and it was fine, but it was like I have boundaries. I was not happy with it at all. It was fine. So people want more of Mama. So we have a whole podcast. Okay. If you go to my page and you click on the podcast, it's not about crimes. We talked about general topics. So this was a crime that involved money. So my mom I got my mom into liking true crime. Go ahead.
That's not a lie. That's the truth. And okay, so I talk to Patrice a lot, but in order to see her, some days I said, well, I'm going to see her if I watch true crime. But this is the thing, and I mentioned to you, and I just want to mention the way it's unpackaged and what you learn and stuff like that about people and the way they think and how things happen and don't do crimes. All of that is the part that got me involved. There's some things, thank goodness, you tell people to back up. You know, if you need to step away, there's some things that you've done, and I thought, oh no, that's not what I'm gonna watch.
Some cases you don't follow
because you know it triggers you, so you just step away. But what I love about it is I love the people. So I love the people and the way the chat moves, and I love the way that it's engaging. And you know, my brain, I love the thought process. So that's that's how I got in love with people.
I will be honest with you all. So the podcast didn't pay. So true crime pays
The bills.
it's helping me pay for that Disney. My mom turned 70 this year, and we will be, so mama looks good. So I'm 43. She is about to be 70. And so we have a big trip planned later this year. And so so we stopped the podcast because we were going weekly, and then it got down to like monthly, and then we just kind of stopped scheduling. And so it's called Mind Your Legacy. All the episodes are still out there.
It's like 52.
Some of the episodes are members only. If there's a members only episode that you want to see, please just comment the name of the video, and it's fine. I will because and normally for members only videos, I try to turn off monetization. So yes. So the link to the podcast, so it is right on YouTube. So all the videos are on YouTube, and you can click there. Also at drpatriceberry.com. I think there's a link to the podcast as well. Website. That's what it is. All right. Yes. So Mama also has her own channel where she talks about business, and she talks about money mindset. She is a neuro change expert. Can you talk about what that is?
Okay. So I help your brain work with you or you work with your brain. And part of it is that when there's no coherence between the brain and us, we keep on wanting to change, but we won't. So that is what I work with. I work with the mindset. Now I'm going to do this wonderful plug from my book. So I just released this book in its identity first. Mm-hmm. And the key with that is, and I'm going to go back to Kouri, when you have a strong identity and you know who you are, then you stop looking for external things to prove your value and your worth. And that is the key. So this book is a little bit different, but it's not a sit down and read all the way through. It's a book that causes you to pause and think. Mm-hmm. And so on Friday, since I'm on Patrice's amazing channel and I get a chance to do that, she told everybody I was turning 70. So this is, I'm just gonna say something. Anyway, so the beautiful thing about it is on the channel on Friday, I talk about building wealth without betraying yourself. Mm-hmm. On Friday at 9 o'clock. But it's repeat. Just join the channel, subscribe, hello, like, share. Anyway.
and I love, so I'll tell my mama, I'll be like, raise your camera up.
I know, she be telling me, y'all see, I'm doing real good today. She said, don't do that. She be testing me like, I said, can you see my nose? Is that what you're like? She said, just raise the camera, just raise it, just do it, please do it. So, but that is the beauty of this space. What I am and I like about certain channels is that it's not just entertainment, right? It's learning and doing things like that. And that is the key. And if you go out, is that my channel or yours?
Yeah, that one's yours. Okay. Vision is you. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I thought it was Mindset Maven. I thought it was something else. I thought it was a different channel. I thought I changed the name, but it's okay. So I love her. So the thing about it, going back to it, is feeding your brain will change the way you think about everything, but it will also release the vibration, a little bit deep, but vibration of you getting the things that you say you want, so that you don't have to fight against you. So that is the beauty of all of this. So I appreciate being here. And I love my baby, my Dr. Babe. I said, Dr. Baby. Yeah, I probably said, she don't know how to spell berry. Yes, I do. I said, Dr. Baby. Thank you for legally. Oh, thank you. So
And we'll add links to the description. Okay. And so my relationship with my dad is, so it got better. And it wasn't from so my mom never spoke bad about my dad.
Never.
My mom actually became, she had to have a major surgery and I couldn't be with her. Was it 3 months? Because I had to go to Ohio.
Yes.
Yeah. So I had to go to Ohio for 3 months. And my dad is amazing. I'm glad that they're not together. They are the perfect example that two people can have happy children, but they don't have to live in the same house. Yeah. I would not be the same child if we had all been together. I was able to have my household with my mom. I visited my dad. Our relationship got better in adulthood. And so the family cruise is with my dad and my brothers and my sister. So I am the only child from my mom. And then I have 2 brothers and a sister with my phenomenal dad and stepmom.
And let me just pause for just a second. To the point, the relationship is so healed that to a point where when I was living in the other house, they came and stayed at my home.
I forgot that they stayed there.
Yeah, they stayed in my house.
My dad,
me and Patrice's stepmom, we went out and shopped. I mean, because this is the deal. When you know who you are, you stop fighting the funk is what I call it, but you stop fighting stuff against you. And so that is the key. I haven't always been this person. Remember, I'm the person who didn't sell the house because, there was some dynamics. So you grow into who you
are. And when she did sell that house eventually, my dad had to sign a paper. And he did like it wasn't, because remember he had to sign something for closing, just saying that he had no interest, and you probably sent him exactly what he needed to get notarized and sent back. And so, not sister wives, not at all, but
no,
single mom and step. Nope.
No.
Nope.
That'd be an O to the no. But thank you. No.
And so
okay.
I so appreciate my mama for coming on and chatting with us. Like I said, finances is her jam, and this is what she does. And this was a case that brought it to the forefront in a way that I'm just glad that her and I got to chat about. If there is something else, because her and I did do a video on healing mother wounds, and we've done videos talking about our relationship. My mom is a part of a generation that some people have become estranged with if there can't be open communication. So my mom was able to hear me say some things that happened. I had a great childhood. Some things that happened, I'm parenting different. And that some of the things, so I was spanked as a child, it never would have met a legal definition of any type of harm. I think that caused me to be a people pleaser. My son is not spanked, and he is not a people pleaser at all. So we have a whole other set, and I'm over here. My son is about to have his own psychologist, hopefully by May. And I say that in like an encouraging way to say, like, sometimes, so my ADHD that went undiagnosed, we're gonna just see what's going on with our kiddo. But we are breaking generational trauma. We are breaking generational wounds. And my mom had a good relationship with her mom. I have a very good relationship with my mom. My son has a very good relationship with me. And so we can pass on generational trauma, but we can also pass on generational wealth too. And so being able to address and change, I think that's really important. Do you have any final thoughts about anything?
Listen, thank you. And somebody, I think it's Sarah Adams. will your mom walk my dog? It's according to what kind of dog it is. No, you don't want to pay me to walk your dog, baby.
So a dog. Okay, let me tell y'all this story. We had a dog that we left at home all day. This poor dog was left home all day, and so the dog chewed through the door. That dog found a new home. She found
you can't destroy my stuff.
But we didn't need, but just we needed a different. We ended up with a smaller dog, a dog that and so you don't.
I love that.
You don't want mama. You don't want mama.
No, you don't. But this is the deal. This is the deal. When you, and I'm not saying every time you find something in your life that you don't want to take care of, don't let it go. But somebody asked me recently, so why don't you have a pet? And I said, because my lifestyle is not fair to the pet. So that's why I don't have a pet, because they need attention. They need you to be there. I'll get up and leave for 2 weeks and, whatever. So my thing is, I love animals, right? And I love people. And I think when you're whole and complete, you get a chance to treat people better. Number one. Number two is you get a chance to put boundaries around the situation. We talk about boundaries. And then if a person does not align with my boundaries, I get a chance to love you at a distance.
She says it so nice. I see. So that's why I did like this, because Mama's over here spitting. Mama will cut somebody off in a minute. I think I need to give my kid.
I know. I'm good.
So I appreciate you all. I will see you all on Tuesday. Somebody said, does your mom, I need her name because she's more. She does. So I do counseling. She doesn't do financial counseling, but she has a whole bunch of information over on her YouTube. But y'all are, and I put her website, and I'm going to go back and add everything to the description as well. But I so appreciate you all. We will see you next time. Be kind, don't do crimes, and we will see you next time. Have a good one. Bye.